Your weekend dinner plans might come with a side of regret you never ordered. That steak, perfectly seared, that burger, juicy, tender, and that chicken, golden, crisp. It all looks incredible under those restaurant lights, doesn't it? But while you're deciding between medium rare or well done, stop. Ask yourself this. How long has that meat been sitting out? How long has it been stuck in the danger zone, breeding bacteria, waiting for someone like you? Because the next food poisoning story, it won't make headlines. It'll just ruin your night. And what I'm about to reveal about these 8 popular chains might not just change where you eat tonight. It might save you from spending tomorrow night in the ER, wondering how one meal turned into a medical nightmare. Let's start with America's neighborhood grill, the place where microwaves work harder than chefs. Up to 90% of Applebee's food arrives frozen, pre-cooked, and vacuum-sealed like astronaut rations. That sizzling fajita platter making all that dramatic noise? It's not fresh meat hitting a hot grill. It's reheated meat packets, getting a theatrical steam show for your entertainment. A former line cook from Phoenix shared this nightmare with me. We had a saying in the kitchen, if it doesn't beep when it's done, we don't serve it. Everything went through the microwave first, then got a quick sear for the grill marks. But here's where it gets dangerous. Temperature logs from multiple Applebee's locations show meat being held at 55 degrees in prep areas. That's not just wrong, that's a bacterial breeding ground disguised as dinner. We'd pull frozen steaks out at 10 in the morning and let them thaw on prep counters until dinner service, revealed a former kitchen manager. By 6 p.m., that meat had been in the danger zone for 8 hours, but hey, it looked ready to cook. Ever wonder why Applebee's pushes so many sauce options? Former employees reveal the ugly truth. Sauces mask the smell and taste of questionable meat. If the steak smelled funky or felt slimy, we'd automatically bring extra A1 sauce, admitted a former server. Strong flavors hide a multitude of sins. The results are predictable and horrifying. One Texas family documented their experience. 4 people, 1 shared appetizer platter, 3 days of absolute hell. The common thread? Everything they ate had been microwaved, reheated, and served with a smile. Now let's talk about the place famous for baby back ribs. But what they're really serving might make you lose your appetite for good. Those slow-smoked baby back ribs that made Chili's famous? They arrive pre-cooked in vacuum-sealed bags, looking more like medical specimens than barbecue. We'd drop the rib bags in boiling water for 5 minutes, then throw them on the grill for 30 seconds to fake the char marks, revealed a former kitchen worker. Customers thought they were getting 12-hour smoked ribs. They were getting 12-minute reheated leftovers. That sizzling fajita show that gets everyone's attention, pure theater. The meat comes from the same pre-cooked, frozen strips used for salads, pasta, and anything else that needs protein. The sizzling sound, that's just oil and water hitting a hot plate. The meat was cooked days ago in a factory somewhere, frozen, shipped, and reheated for your dining pleasure. Perhaps most disturbing, multiple former employees report managers instructing staff to replace expiration date labels on meat that's gone bad. When chicken started smelling off, we'd get new date stickers and push it back into rotation, admitted a former prep cook. Management called it inventory management. I called it attempted murder. One Texas location was cited for raw beef stored at 62 degrees. Hot enough to grow bacteria, cold enough to fool health inspectors during quick visits. Former employees described walk-in coolers so overstuffed that meat containers created their own hotspots. Perfect incubators for the kind of bacteria that sends people to emergency rooms. Chili's kitchen design creates perfect conditions for disaster. Same cutting boards for raw chicken and ready-to-eat salads. Same gloves handling raw beef and cooked vegetables. Same sanitizer spray expected to magically eliminate deadly bacteria. One former worker described the evening prep. Raw chicken juice dripping onto tomorrow's salad mix while we prepped both on the same counter. A paper towel wipe down was considered deep cleaning. Fridays built its reputation on fun vibes and loaded appetizers. But their meat handling practices might load you up with more than you bargained for. Despite marketing fresh, never frozen steaks, multiple locations have been caught using frozen meat products labeled as fresh after thawing. We'd get frozen steaks on Monday, thaw them in warm water baths to speed the process, then sell them as fresh cut all week, revealed a former meat prep worker. By Friday, that fresh steak was 6 days old and had been temperature abused more than a rental car. Friday's famous loaded potato skins and bacon-wrapped appetizers hide a darker secret: meat that's been cooked, cooled, stored, and reheated multiple times. "We'd pre-cook bacon on Sunday for the whole week," said a former prep cook. "By Thursday, we were serving bacon that had been reheated 4 times. It was more like bacon-flavored cardboard, but customers kept ordering it." Systematic temperature control failures plague Friday's locations nationwide. One investigative series found meat sitting above safe temperatures in over 30% of inspected locations. Health inspectors discovered pork ribs stored on top of raw chicken, both products leaking juices into shared containers, creating a bacterial soup that would make a microbiologist weep. Friday's burgers have become legendary for all the wrong reasons. Blind taste tests consistently rank them lowest among major chains, with tasters describing them as dry, rubbery, and suspiciously bland. The reason? Former employees confirm that burger patties are pre-cooked during slow periods, then reheated during dinner rush. That explains the cardboard texture and the complete absence of any beef flavor. Perhaps most disgusting, the oil used for frying appetizers and chicken is changed far less frequently than health codes require. "We were supposed to change the oil daily," admitted a former fry cook. Reality? We'd go 3, sometimes 4 days with the same oil. By day 3, everything tasted like burnt grease and regret. Outback promises, no rules, just right. But when it comes to meat safety, maybe a few more rules wouldn't hurt. That famous bloomin' onion might be the safest thing on the menu, because everything else involves meat handling practices that would make a health inspector faint. Multiple locations have been cited for storing raw meat above ready-to-eat foods, creating a bacterial waterfall that contaminates everything below. Former employees reveal that Outback's fresh steaks often sit in loading docks for hours before making it to refrigeration. Thursday meat deliveries wouldn't get processed until Friday afternoon because we were understaffed, shared a former receiving manager. Those ribeyes spent 18 hours at room temperature before anyone cared enough to refrigerate them. When customers send steaks back for more cooking, they don't get the full treatment. Former grill cooks describe a 30-second sear process that heats the outside while leaving the bacteria-laden interior untouched. "We'd slap returned steaks back on the grill just long enough to stop customer complaints," revealed a former line cook. The outside looked done, but the inside was still playing host to whatever grew during the first cooking attempt. During dinner rush, steaks sit on prep counters for 15 to 20 minutes, while servers wait for sides to be ready. That's 15 to 20 minutes in the bacterial danger zone, where harmful organisms multiply exponentially. "We'd have a whole row of steaks just sitting there, getting warmer by the minute," described a former expediter. By the time they reached the table, they'd been breeding bacteria longer than some people date. The results are documented across social media. Families getting violently ill after Outback dinners, steaks arriving gray despite being ordered rare, and meat with odors that shouldn't exist in any restaurant. One particularly disturbing case involved a birthday celebration, where all 6 diners required medical attention after sharing various steak dishes. The common factor? Every piece of meat had spent excessive time in temperature danger zones. Longhorn markets expertly grilled steaks and legendary flavor. But the only thing legendary is how long some of that meat sits around before reaching your plate. Despite advertising fresh, never frozen, multiple former employees reveal that most steaks arrive frozen solid and get thawed using dangerous rapid thaw methods. "We'd submerge frozen steaks in warm water to speed thawing," admitted a former prep worker. "Health codes say that's dangerous, but management said speed was more important than safety." Longhorn's meat rotation system operates on a first-in, last-out basis, meaning older steaks get buried under newer shipments and forgotten until they're dangerously expired. "I found steaks in the back of the walk-in that were 2 weeks past expiration," revealed a former inventory manager. Management's solution? Cut off the discolored parts and serve the rest. They called it trimming for quality. Longhorn's grills aren't cleaned between different types of meat, creating perfect conditions for cross-contamination between poultry and beef. "Chicken, steak, pork, it all went on the same grill surface," explained a former grill cook. "We'd scrape off the big chunks and call it clean. Everything else just added flavor to the next order." Longhorn's aggressive sauce promotion isn't about enhancing flavor. It's about masking problems with questionable meat quality. Gray steak? Extra sauce. Weird smell? Double sauce? Slimy texture? Sauce on the side so customers could mask it themselves, revealed a former server. "We had more sauce varieties than excuses, and we needed both." Health inspections consistently find Longhorn locations failing to maintain proper meat storage temperatures. One Florida location stored steaks at 58 degrees, 18 degrees above safe limits. The result? Meat that looks fine, but harbors dangerous bacteria levels that can cause serious illness within hours of consumption. Texas Roadhouse prides itself on hand-cut steaks and legendary meat quality. But former employees reveal legends that would make you lose your appetite. That aged beef doesn't age in temperature-controlled facilities like you'd expect. It ages in delivery trucks during cross-country shipping, creating perfect conditions for bacterial growth rather than flavor development. "We'd get vacuum-sealed steaks that had been bouncing around in trucks for weeks," revealed a former meat cutter. "The aging happened at highway temperatures, not in some fancy aging room." Texas Roadhouse's distinctive steak flavor comes from marinades designed to hide meat quality issues rather than enhance natural beef flavors. "When steaks started smelling questionable, we'd soak them in marinade overnight," admitted a former kitchen manager. "The acid and spices covered up any off odors, and customers thought it was just our secret recipe." The prep area operates like a bacterial exchange program, with the same cutting boards used for raw chicken and beef without proper sanitization between uses. "We'd break down whole chickens, then immediately start cutting steaks on the same board," described a former prep cook. "A quick rinse with the spray hose was considered adequate cleaning. Health inspectors would have shut us down if they'd seen the reality." Hand-cut steaks sit at room temperature for hours during prep, spending more time in the danger zone than in proper refrigeration. Steaks would sit on prep counters from 2 p.m. until dinner service started at 5 p.m., revealed a former line cook. By the time they hit the grill, they'd been breeding bacteria for 3 hours. But hey, they were hand-cut, so customers thought they were getting something special. Social media documents the consequences. Steaks with gray centers, despite being ordered rare. Meat with unusual odors, and families requiring medical attention after celebratory dinners. One particularly disturbing incident involved a wedding anniversary dinner where both diners were hospitalized with severe food poisoning. The culprit? Ribeye steaks that had spent the afternoon at room temperature before being served medium rare. Olive Garden promises Italian tradition and family-style dining, but what's really traditional is their commitment to cutting corners on meat safety. Those homemade meat sauces start with frozen meat products, that get thawed in ways that would horrify any Italian grandmother. We'd dump frozen ground beef into warm water baths to speed thawing, revealed a former prep cook. By the time it reached the sauce pot, it had been temperature abused worse than a rental car in summer. Olive Garden's chicken dishes hide a disturbing secret: meat that arrives pre-cooked, frozen, and gets reheated multiple times before reaching your plate. Chicken for fettuccine Alfredo was frozen, chicken strips that got reheated 3 times before hitting the pasta, said a former line cook. By the 3rd reheating, it had the texture of rubber and the flavor of disappointment. Health department records from multiple Olive Garden locations show a recurring trend: improper food storage, utensils left in standing water, and in one shocking case, a pasta bin found with insect activity. Yes, insect activity. That's not a garnish. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. A customer once discovered a short black hair tangled in their fettuccine and posted the photo online. It went viral faster than the restaurant could respond. Employees have also complained about being asked to use the same kitchen towels for both wiping counters and drying dishes. One former dishwasher described the cleaning process as hope and bleach fumes. The staff turnover rate is so high that undertrained new hires often run the food line with only a few hours of preparation. Someone might be mixing your shrimp scampi while still learning how to properly wash their hands. While Olive Garden may want you to believe in its authentic Italian roots, most of its recipes come from a central corporate database, not from Nana's cookbook. The tour of Italy might sound charming, but all you're touring is a freezer aisle. The prices have gone up, but the quality hasn't. You're not paying for better ingredients. You're just paying more to sit in a booth with Tuscany wallpaper and slow service. Subway claims to be fresh and healthy, but fresh is a stretch when your tuna is the punchline of a national joke. Multiple lab tests in recent years have raised questions about whether Subway's tuna contains, well, any actual tuna. One scientific review in 2021 found no amplifiable tuna DNA in the tested samples. That's like biting into a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and finding no peanuts or fruit, just vague goo. Former employees have shared stories of mystery meat with expiration stickers peeled off and replaced. One even uploaded a photo of a plastic tub of chicken with the words "Do not use after Tuesday" scratched out and a new date slapped on. A customer once opened a sandwich to find a translucent chicken strip that looked more like a wet tissue than food. Even the veggies don't always make the grade. A viral image from a New Jersey location showed brown lettuce, half-rotten tomatoes, and cucumbers that looked like they had been soaking in mop water. Health inspections across multiple Subway locations have cited poor temperature control, pest activity, and improper glove use. One inspector reported that an employee wiped down a prep counter with a rag, then immediately used the same rag to wipe lettuce. That's not just unsanitary, it's salad sabotage. Subway's famous bread has its own story. In Ireland, a court ruled that it contained too much sugar to legally be called bread. In fact, the rolls used for sandwiches have more sugar per serving than some donuts. So that 6-inch turkey sub might feel healthy, but nutritionally it's playing dress-up. You're basically eating cake with lunch meat. And let's not even talk about how they toast sandwiches. One user uploaded a side-by-side image. Their bread was so unevenly toasted, it looked like it had fallen asleep halfway through a tanning session. And yet, somehow, Subway remains the most widespread fast food chain in the world. Not because the food is good, but because it's cheap, familiar, and everywhere. But cheap and familiar are not the same as clean and safe. The next time you reach for a $5 footlong, remember, it might just cost you your dignity and your digestive system. When we step back and look at these chains, a pattern emerges. It's not the fancy menus or clean dining rooms. It's what happens when no one's watching. If the food smells off, looks gray, or feels wrong, trust your instincts. Ask, was it fresh? How long has it been sitting? And if it feels off, leave. Go to the places that still care, where the kitchen runs on pride, not timers. So, the next time you eat out, look past the menu. Think about what's not being said, because the truth, it's not always on the menu.